Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
November 25, 2020, the Zuma arrested edition. And our first story comes from the Financial Times. A South African corruption inquiry has ordered that a criminal complaint be filed with police against former President Jacob Zuma after he absconded from the probe into the country's biggest post-apartheid corruption scandal. Zuma defied a subpoena last week and walked out of a Johannesburg base of inquiry, which was investigating claims of systemic corruption during his 9-year tenure. The judge ordered a criminal complaint be filed against Zuma for defiance of the summons to answer evidence relating to his involvement. Next up, Quantas Airlines has announced they will require vaccine shots before flights. It plans to insist that passengers on international flights have been vaccinated against COVID-19 before boarding its plane. The Australian airline's chief executive said he thought the vaccine would become a necessity for international travel. We're looking at changing our terms and conditions to say for international travel, you must have a vaccine before you can get on the aircraft. He believes this will be common. Qantas is the first big airline to publicly raise the possibility of refusing travel to unvaccinated passengers. A vaccine breakthrough in the last 2 weeks have raised hope that international travel could begin to recover in 2021, but also provoked questions about how the health status of would-be passengers would be verified. So certainly good news if you're going to be in international travel that hopefully the rest of the airline industry will follow suit and require a verified shot for COVID-19 before you can board an international flight. EY's saga around Wirecard continues as the company has reached a deal with German politicians to give its auditors protections from legal risk of giving evidence at the Wirecard inquiry, but has warned its staff to prepare for more fallout from the hearings. The German Parliamentary Inquiry Committee had called several senior members from the Big Four to give evidence at its inquiry into the high-profile collapse of Wirecard. EY audited the group for more than a decade and, of course, completely missed all of the ongoing fraud. The questions about how its senior staff could adhere to client privacy rules if they were to reveal details. Wirecard's administrators has released EY partners from all confidentialities, but some German courts have considered such a waiver not sufficient. The German parliament has given blanket immunity for this testimony by EY. EY is certainly in a world of trouble over this, and although it's fully supportive of the investigation, it's certainly going to turn out very poorly for EY, considering all of the fraud that they missed and the billions that were lost because of their incompetence. And finally, Odebrecht's monitor has certified that the company has met its obligations in the deferred prosecution agreement and has closed out the monitorship. Chuck DeRoss, who had been appointed as the monitor for Odebrecht, made the certification and reported to the Department of Justice. The monitorship had originally been for 3 years, but it was extended by 9 months in February due to the bankruptcy of Odebrecht. They obviously cannot compete in the real business world without engaging in bribery and corruption, and it shows to you the invidiousness of bribery and corruption, both for the briber and the bribor. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.